Dean Levine, thank you for this opportunity. It is such an honor for me. To all of the medical students, soon to be doctors, family and friends, congratulations on this incredible accomplishment. When Dean Levine invited me to give this speech a year ago, we had no idea that my experiences battling COVID-19 like cytokine storms and searching for a cure would be so relevant. I wish that we could all be together today to celebrate this happy occasion. Unfortunately, COVID-19 has changed the world in myriad ways. So today, we celebrate the first virtual graduation ceremony for Pitt Medical School. I think this is actually quite fitting for Pitt Med, where the world's first liver transplant was performed, insulin deficiency was confirmed to distinguish type 1 from type 2 diabetes, and cortisone was discovered. Of course, everything in medicine has a first. Every drug has a first patient, every surgeon has a first surgery, every method has a first try. In transitioning to residency, your life will be dominated daily by first times and new challenges, especially with COVID-19. While nearly all Americans are doing their part to fight back against COVID-19 through social distancing, supporting essential workers, and being there for one another, you all have the incredible opportunity and heavy responsibility to join the front lines in just a few weeks in the fight against COVID-19 as the first medical school graduates in this new era. You didn't know that COVID-19 was going to emerge when you first enrolled in medical school, but you chose this path because you always knew that you wanted to help patients, discover cures, and save lives. Never before has there been a greater need to do each of those things, and never before have you been more prepared than you are right now. We need your help. Just like you, I too found myself in the midst of a war when I graduated from medical school that I never could have imagined when I started. Like many of you, I was inspired to go into medicine based on a personal experience. For me, it was when cancer took my mom's life while I was in college. I wanted to become an oncologist. I wanted revenge. I was well on my way when during my third year, I suddenly experienced a cytokine storm, and my liver, kidneys, bone marrow, heart, and lungs all shut down. A retinal hemorrhage made me blind in my left eye. I gained 70 pounds of fluid and drifted in and out of consciousness. I was eventually diagnosed with idiopathic multicentric Castleman disease. As you know, it's never good when idiopathic is in the name of your disease. 1/3 of us die within 5 years of diagnosis, and another third die within 10 years. I was even read my last rites when my doctors did not think I would survive. I've considered that moment to be the start of my overtime, time that I didn't think I would have, when I could first fully appreciate just how precious life is. I would go on to have 4 life-threatening relapses before chasing after my cure. And I'm alive today because of a few principles that I want to share with you as you set out on your journeys. The first, we are all in overtime. I wish that I had never had my last rites read to me, but it has given me appreciation of life that I never had before. I think COVID-19 has given us all a sense of overtime, where the clock could run out at any moment. Fear is an understandable feeling, fear for ourselves and our loved ones. But let's use this sense of overtime to focus on the most important things in life and to liberate us to be our best selves. The second, humor is so powerful. One of the last things that likely comes to mind when you think about suffering and dying is laughter, and understandably so. But with COVID-19 and other challenges in life, laughing with the people we love can be so powerful. This was certainly the case in my journey. After nearly 5 months hospitalized, a combination of 7 chemotherapies halted my cytokine storm and saved my life. I remember one of the first walks I took with my dad around the hospital floor. It was New Year's Eve 2010. My belly was filled with 7 liters of fluid due to my liver and kidney failure, but I was just glad to be alive. As we passed the family waiting room on our walk, we noticed there was a gentleman who looked like he'd been drinking on New Year's Eve. When we passed by again, we saw he had fallen to the floor. So my dad rushed over to help him back to his chair, and he looked at us and he said, "Thanks so much, good luck to you and your wife." We rounded the corner kind of confused, and then I looked down at my belly and I realized he thought that I was my dad's pregnant wife, which was a low point emotionally for both of us. But we laughed so hard. Third, reflect on what you're hoping for and then turn your hope into action. A few weeks after being confused as my dad's pregnant wife, I was eventually discharged and returned to medical school on an experimental drug that we hoped would keep me in remission. This drug was based on research done by Dr. Kazu Yoshizaki. He had discovered that interleukin-6 was highly elevated in a few Castleman disease patients and developed a drug to block it. I had heard he tested it on himself to prove that it was safe before giving it to other humans. When I asked him, he said, No, I didn't give it to myself. The nurse, she gave it to me. It went on to get approval in Japan for Castleman disease and inspire a second-generation treatment in the U.S. that I was now taking and hoping would keep me alive. When I relapsed on it, the only drug in development for my disease, and my doctor informed me that I had run out of options, I realized that I could no longer just hope that some researcher somewhere would find a treatment for my disease. I would need to turn my hope into action. I promised my family that I'd dedicate the rest of my life, however long that may be, to trying to find a cure. With COVID-19, there are countless people hoping and praying for drugs, vaccines, and doctors to prevent or treat them or their loved one's disease. The action you take in the coming weeks and months will have the potential to answer those prayers and realize those hopes. Fourth, none of us can fight a war alone. Lean on your classmates and families, perhaps via Zoom, for support as you face challenges. I did just that. After chemotherapy saved my life for a fourth time, I returned to medical school on a mission. My classmates by my side, I began conducting laboratory research, built an international research network, and spearheaded a new approach to rare disease research. In the midst of all of this, I got engaged to the love of my life, graduated from medical school, and then relapsed and nearly died again. I was out of options. I searched through data from my own experiments on my own samples to try to find a target for a personalized medicine approach. Then I found a pattern that suggested that an important communication line called mTOR was turned on. The best part about mTOR is that there are drugs already FDA approved for kidney transplantation that can inhibit it. An experiment confirmed my hunch. mTOR was up. That didn't guarantee that blocking it would work, but it was a lead. So I began testing the mTOR inhibitor sirolimus on myself as the first patient with my disease ever treated with it. Today marks 76.26 months since my last relapse. I say 76.26 months because I know I can't round up. I may be in the ICU with a relapse tomorrow. But I also refuse to round down because my team of friends, family, colleagues, and I have worked so hard for every day. Fifth, during tough times, we're often encouraged to find silver linings. But my mom taught me to also look to create silver linings. My team at UPenn recently joined the COVID-19 fight by launching an effort to identify and track drugs that can be repurposed to treat COVID-19. We found approximately 150 drugs have already been tried in the first 11,000 patients we've studied. There are thousands of drugs already FDA approved for at least one condition. The drug I'm on was within a mile of me at my nearby CVS for each of my deadly relapses, but no one had thought to try it. How many of these drugs may potentially work against COVID-19 or other diseases, like the 7,000 rare diseases without any approved treatments? The drug Kazu developed for Castleman disease is actually one of the most promising drugs we've found to date, and it's undergoing multiple clinical trials for COVID-19. Firsts in medicine are so important, and I hope you all will be a part of creating silver linings during this difficult time. But let me be clear, there are some firsts that I do not recommend. I'm not suggesting that you should ever test a drug on yourself outside of a clinical trial like Kazu did. And I hope none of the gentlemen watching this video will ever be confused as their father's pregnant wife. But I do hope you'll find some humor in that if that ever does happen. But I am certain that after today, you will continue to be a part of many groundbreaking firsts in medicine. Welcome to our physician family. We're honored to stand beside you and grateful for the work you will do. Thank you so much.